Hello everybody, welcome to this week's edition of The Verdict. So we're going to have a look at 6 interesting races and we're going to go countrywide for them. We'll be at Thirsk, we'll be at Pontefract, we'll also be at Newmarket as well, and indeed Haydock Park. We'll end at Haydock with what is a tremendous performance from Aasy, a really good ride from Jim Crowley. He's produced a big speed figure. We'll analyse that at the end of the show, but we're going to start at Pontefract. Midweek, Ryan Moore was there and he was riding for Kevin Ryan in this, the opening contest, and Royal Zabeel was the favourite that he was on. 2's on. Bay of Australia was 9-2 in a week in the market. Sweet Soul Music was 6-1. 11's Alice's Impact, and it was 18's in Bigger the Rest. Going on the easy side, the rail was out on the stand side to negate the bias of being against that stand side rail, which has been the place to be when there's been a bit of a dig in the ground. So 6 furlongs the trip, and Royal Zabeel the odds-on favourite on the back of a debut effort where he was way too green. He comes out of stall number 1. Bay of Australia was second and came out of 8, and This Year's Love came from stall number 3. Let's send them on the way and have a look at what the course track sectionals tell us and what our eye tells us as well. Ryan Moore, anxious to get to the front on Royal Zabeel. He's a lot sharper this day than he'd been on the debut when he was tardily away and very green throughout. And I wanted to highlight this race, not because I think it's a race that'll work out well, not because I think there's lots of winners in behind, but I do think this winner is very good. And I think some people will put this success down to him just getting an easy lead out in front and being allowed to do what he wants under Ryan Moore. But his finishing speed percentage of 101.9 indicates that this is a well-judged front-running ride. Ryan's not gone really slow and stacked them up and then quickened away and just stolen the race. He's gone a good even tempo throughout, and his horse has responded tremendously well in the closing stages to win by 7.5 lengths. Now, you don't often see a juvenile winning by that far. He must be pretty good. His final 3 furlongs was 37.52. In isolation, doesn't mean a lot, but you compare it to the runner-up, 38.29. And if you crunch the numbers, that equates to this fella in front being 4 lengths and more quicker than the runner-up in the final 3 furlongs. So yes, he's been rated well by the best jockey in the world, Ryan Moore, but nonetheless, he's pulled easily clear of a decent enough rival and spread-eagled the rest of them. When Chaos Chorister won at Epsom last year, that was an easy lead success over 1.5 miles at Epsom. There was only, I think, 3 opponents or so that day. And I put that horse in the verdict thinking that the numbers told us that Chaos Chorister was very good. It didn't matter that horse got an easy lead that day. It didn't matter that those in behind were not very good. It's what the numbers told us. And I think we've got a similar scenario here. I think this fella is a pretty good horse. He was the only horse to dip under 13 seconds through the 6th furlong. And to be honest, he's doing it with his ears pricked. He's not doing a tap out there under Ryan, who gives him a couple of flicks with the whip. And he lengthens a little bit there, but he's not doing anything at all. He pricks his ears once Ryan takes the revs off. Just here, Ryan's easing him down. There go the ears, and he has won as he liked. I think he's pretty useful. Kevin Ryan trains him. It's a rare ride for Ryan Moore for the Kevin Ryan yard, and this is a big step up on his debut, and I do think there's going to be a fair bit more to come from this horse. He's quick, he got an easy lead. It's not going to be so easy up in grade, but he's got an engine and he's talented. Oh, well, from Pontefract to Haydock, and I think we've got a race here in contrast to the Pontefract one where you only want to follow the winner, Royal Zabeel. This is a race I think that will work out very well. It was a 7 furlong novice race. Alshin Farrow was the 5-2 favourite. Remard was 3-1. Wootton's Jewel was 5-1. Grand Carrot 11-2 from 13-2, and it was 9-1. And Bigger the Rest, and it's Alshin Farrow who wins here, defying a penalty. 2 wins on the bounce now. For this horse, ridden by Jim Crowley for Philippa de Foy, coming for stall number 3 in the Shadwell colours. Remard from 2 finished in second, and Grand Carrot, this one very much catches the eye. You keep an eye on Grand Carrot through this race, finishing in third place. The early part of this contest was steadily run, sometimes at Haydock over 7 furlongs. Because they're quite soon into that home bend, they go steady early on. There's the bend. So they haven't got a long run until they get into that. So they tend to go quite steady, and now they're on the turn as well. So early fractions over 7 furlongs can be quite slow, and they certainly were here. They were going very steady in the early part of the contest. For example, the third furlong was 13.28 seconds. So they really crawled until they turned in. But Jim Crowley, who is riding at the top of his game at the moment, tons of confidence, was always handy on the winner, Al Shinfara. And then, when they get to the final 4 furlongs, the pace really cranks up, and the final 3 are very quick indeed. And the winner showed a sustained burst of speed. Now, this was the case at Doncaster on debut as well, where this horse quickened up in fine style, showed tremendous acceleration. And the same is here. Crowley's about to let go, and the 5th furlong, 11.17, followed by an 11.32 and an 11.92 thereafter. This is a quick horse with a sharp turn of foot. Remard is the horse in yellow, running on strongly into second place, and Grand Carrot towards the outside, running on quite well in the closing stages too. But Al Shinfara is too good, and eased down by Crowley just before the line. She's idling, she's not doing a lot, but she has flashed really good speed, particularly that 5th furlong of 11.17. Quickening up in a race that the finishing speed percentage tells us was really slow, 110.41. That's what the gallop was about, but it's also about her speed at the end of the contest, finishing off 10% quicker the final 3 furlongs than she ran the rest of the race. So this is a good performance. Quickly highlight Remard in the yellow. This horse was finished second and was quickest through the 6th furlong at 11.13, and Grand Carrot third on the outside in the red cap. This horse fired the fastest final 3 furlongs in the race of 34.27, but Al Shinfara had got first run, and I'll be very keen on you putting the third, Grand Carrot, into your racing TV tracker, because this is a horse who's got a pedigree chock full of stamina. The speed that Al Shinfara showed here, whilst having a length or so's advantage, was too much for Grand Carrot. But over those final 3 furlongs was still quicker than the winner, but was green, ran around a bit, got the hang of things late on, and he's definitely a horse to keep an eye on going forward for the Charltons. As is Al Shinfara, who is due a step up in grade, I think, after this. This was a good performance under a penalty. I think she's won with a little bit in hand, and this is a race that's going to work out very well. That horse there, Remard, Tom Marquand, leading in Jim Crowley, who's red hot at the moment, on the winner, who could well win again, and the third will be winning as well, probably over a mile. Wants to step up, I'd have thought, to a mile. There's the winner though, Al Shinfara, a horse who's blessed with loads of speed, and most importantly, most potently, a rapid change of gear. Let's go to Thirsk last week now and have a look at the performance of Nibras Angel in the Bob Vickery Memorial Novice Stakes. It was over 7 furlongs. Horse was odds on for the Ismail Mohammed team. Benoit de la Sayette, the man on board. Mother Mary 7-2 drifting. Streets of Philly was 8-1. There's money for that. Angel from above 12s. And Initio was backed 12s from 22-1. But it was Nibras Angel, this is a 3-year-old, lightly raced 3-year-old, who gets the job done from stall number 4. Quite a long way off here with this particular view, but Mother Mary from stall number 1 filled out second. Initio, who was backed at prices, was in 3rd place. But this race is all about Nibras Angel and all about the jockey for me, Benoit de la Sayette. I think he is a coming force. I rate him very highly indeed. Here he is on Nibras Angel, about to take this horse to the front and to dominate this contest. And what he did here was quite interesting. He went quickly, according to the course track sectionals, to get to the front. He had to go 11.69 through the 2nd furlong to get there, to get Nibras Angel in front. It's a weakish race. He didn't want to be stuck in traffic. And Nibras Angel tries to go with him then and tries to be keen with him. But he's able to get her back, rate her right back under him. And he's gone from going 11.69 to get to the front to the next furlong being slower than 13 seconds. So he's got there, he's fired her up, got there, and then he's able to relax her and settle her on the lead. Now he's in control once round the bend, and she dominates this race. She quickens through the 6th furlong, 11.14. Now I know she's done it from the front, know she's got her own way, she's not received any pressure whatsoever. That's a quick furlong. She's quickened up really well under Benoit, who's rated her brilliantly, having fired her up in the early part of the race. He's then saved enough for her to be able to fire that furlong. She jinks a little bit in the closing stages, but she still runs on very strongly. Mother Mary, you can see far side, she's running on well late on, firing the fastest final furlong in the race of 11.77 compared to 11.84. But that doesn't mean a lot really. She was readily outpaced when the winner quickened and fired that 11-second furlong, and Mother Mary couldn't go with her at that stage. So I'm not deceived too much by Mother Mary's quicker final furlong. It might just mean that Mother Mary perhaps wants a little bit further, but I couldn't see her ever beating Nibras Angel, who is clearly highly thought of. Prior to running here, was given an entry in the Sun Chariot, the Group 1 Sun Chariot at Newmarket at the end of the season. That's an interesting thing for trainer Ismail Mohammed to do. I think this filly is still green. She jinked under pressure, but I think she's very fast. She's got a good turn of foot, and she's got a young jockey on board her who dominated this race. He knew exactly what he was going to do. He had a plan, he executed it to perfection. And sometimes when horses are fired up early on, you can't get them back, and they do too much early on. Not here, because Benoit de Sayet is too good to let that happen when he's riding a horse who needs to go to the front. Nibras Angel, she's got a quick pedigree. She's by Harry Angel, out of a showcasing mare. Speed will always be her main asset. I doubt whether she'll be so effective at a mile, but they'll probably give that a go. She's very quick, and she showed that speed out there at Thirsk this week. Okay, Newmarket Friday evening, having a look at a maiden. It was Division 2 of this particular maiden. It was over 7 furlongs. Tribal Moon, the Charlie Appleby team, was the 2-1 favourite. It was 9-2 J-Ash. Washik was 9-2 and weak in the market. Pick Your Battles 6-1. Ghostwriter 9-1. Jump Jet 11s and 18s, and bigger the rest. I think we've seen one of the better performances of the week here from the newcomer, number 2, Ghostwriter. Stall 11 for Ghostwriter in the Jeff Smith colours for Clive Cox and Richard Kingscott. Run Boy Run from stall number 8. Second Wonder was third, right out in the middle of the track. And it was quite an eye-catcher, Wonder. Keep an eye on that horse in the closing stages. And why was this so impressive? Well, Ghostwriter is on debut here, and in a race that wasn't particularly strongly run, showed a fine change of gear, a tremendous turn of foot in the final 3 furlongs to settle this race quite quickly. It's not often you see such a potent turn of foot from a newcomer, but that's what we saw here. Now at this point, I just have to touch on the favourite, the Godolphin horse, who's already off the bridle. This is Tribal Moon, already being niggled along, head to one side, and ultimately is going to be tailed off in this race. You can see there, look, carrying head awkwardly at this part of the race and never looking likely to get involved. Bizarrely, having been tailed off, the stewards did not have a look at what happened, or didn't question connections as to what happened out there. So we're none the wiser as to why Tribal Moon was just about tailed off in this race, which is a little bit odd in itself. Anyway, let's have a look at this winner, who's on the outside of the field here in those Jeff Smith colours, and is about to quicken up. Now this wasn't a strongly run race at all, 108.01 the finishing speed percentage, so they've saved a bit of petrol so that they can quicken up in the final 3 furlongs. But it's not often you see a 2-year-old run 2 sub-11-second furlongs through the final 3. But this horse did. The 5th furlong, 10.94, followed by a 6th furlong of 10.96. That's way too good for his rivals out there. 10.96 on the back of a 10.94. That's impressive stuff from a newcomer. Normally they're way too green to flash that sort of speed in a race that, okay, wasn't that strongly run, but wasn't a crawl out there. That 108% finishing speed percentages tell us that they went an okay gallop. There's Tribal Moon completely tailed off. Something must have been amiss. But he'd have had to be pretty good to beat Ghostwriter, you know. Final 3 furlongs of 34.09. That's quick. The runner-up was 34.64, so a long way off that, 4 or 5 lengths off that through the final 3 furlongs. So that's impressive from a newcomer. And Ghostwriter was the only horse in the 6th furlong of this 7 furlong race to dip under 11 seconds. No other horse was able to do that in the race. So he was very dominant through the final 3 furlongs. I'm really impressed with the speed that he showed. He's quite big to look at him. There's more development in him. He does dish a little bit with his front legs. He's not dead straight, he doesn't throw them out straight. He just dishes a little bit. That'll be something of a worry, but he's got an engine, he's quick, he's got a turn of foot as well, and he's also got stamina in his pedigree. He's by Invincible Spirit, but his dam stayed 1.5 miles. So there's a chance that he's going to get further, but he's definitely got plenty of speed. And maybe just another furlong would be okay for him, but I don't think he's ever going to be a horse who's going to be going 10 or 12 furlongs. Wonder in third, just a quick word on her. She's very stoutly bred. She was second fastest through the final 3 furlongs. She is one for your racing TV tracker over a bit further. Time to go to Newmarket on Saturday now. They staged a very interesting card. I'm going to have a look at the Sweet Solera Stakes. And it's Group 3, and Fallen Angel was the 9-4 favourite from Wild Goddess, who was 7-2 for Charlie Appleby. The Soprano was 4-1, who met Fallen Angel when they raced last time up at Sandown Park. Carolina Reaper was 9-2, Jabara was 17-2, and it was 11-1, and bigger the rest. This is a top performance on quick ground, good to firm in places, from Fallen Angel, stall number 7 for Fallen Angel, who's dominant in this race. Soprano from 2 is second, and Les Bleus was third from 5. I've got a plan for Soprano. Not sure George Bowie agrees, but anyway, we will reveal that plan shortly. Let's look at Fallen Angel, who was beaten at Sandown last time on softer ground, but she finished ahead of Soprano, and she beat Soprano by more here on this occasion on better ground. And I think she benefited, 1, from getting back on decent ground, and 2, from what was a pretty good gallop. They went a decent pace here. It was a strongly run, competitive 7 furlong Group 3. The finishing speed percentage just over 100, suggesting that they did go a good gallop. Soprano bowling along stand side, taking them along in the early part of the race, and they were very solid. For example, the fraction she set, the second, she went 11.61, so they were trapping out there in the early part of the race. But that brought the best out of the winner, who is sure to stay a mile, and she picked up very strongly from about here. Here she is, she's just about to start picking up. Wild Goddess to her left in the Godolphin Blue is left in her wake in a moment when she quickens up under Danny Todhope for a 5th furlong of 11.12. That wins her the race. She quickens really well, and bear in mind she sat close to a strong gallop, so she's still able to find a bit more in that 5th. She slows down in the 6th, but she still goes under 12 seconds, 11.49, and then naturally she gets tired in the final furlong, but the damage is already done. She's seen off Soprano, and she's gone away to win comfortably, with Les Bleus running on into 3rd place in the closing stages towards the stand side. But that furlong with 11.12 sealed the deal for Fallen Angel, who's certain to stay a little bit further. They might try a mile with her next, but it is to be noted that she's got 2 entries over 7 furlongs, the Debutant Stakes and the Moy Glare. They're both at the Curragh later this year, so there's a chance that she will stay at 7 furlongs and perhaps contest one of those. What of Soprano and this plan that I have? Surely it's 6 furlongs. Didn't get home at Sandown last time. Over 7, could have been put down to the ground. It was much easier than the ground here, but I think this horse is fast. Has won over 5 furlongs already in her career on debut, and I think she perhaps wants to come back a furlong in trip. I think she's very talented, but I think she's fast, and I think a drop back a furlong would suit her ideally. This is a good performance though from the winner. This is one of the better time performances of the week. Carl Burke can do little wrong with his 2-year-olds and indeed his older horses, and he's got a very nice horse here on his hands. This is a Group 3. I think she's certain to step up in grade now, and she might be just even better at a mile because she's attended a strong pace and then she's able to quicken up off it, showing that she's got plenty of stamina. She's not really stopping at the line. Nothing's making any gains on her in the last 100 yards or so, and Danny Todhope hasn't really gone through the gears late on. She's a nice filly. She's a classy filly. She's got black type now, and I think she's heading for a Group 1 somewhere down the line this season. Well, time now to have a look at the Betfred Rose of Lancaster Stakes, the Group 3 at Haydock on Saturday. This was over a mile, 2 furlongs and 100 yards, and I think it's produced one of the better time performances of the week, and I think it's the best riding performance of the week by some way from the red hot and in form Jim Crowley. 6-5 Aasy was the winner. King of Conquest 9-2, 5's Midnight Mile, Phantom Flight 7's, 10's El Drama, Savvy Victory 10's and 33's Classic Causeway. This is Aasy at his very best. He can throw in a stinker now and then, but he was at his best here. Now the angle's not very good to highlight the stall, so I'll just point him out from stall number 2. He beats El Drama from 3 and Midnight Mile, who won a listed race for fillies at York last time. She was back in 3rd place, just beaten by 2 boys on this particular occasion. So Aasy, there he is, dropped out the back. Jumped a little bit slow, but I think Jim Crowley wanted him to do that because he's a horse who has to be nursed into his races. He's a horse who you have to sit on and wait and wait and wait, and Crowley exercises it to absolute perfection on this horse. The gallop was not particularly strong in the early part of the contest. The finishing speed percentage was just over 100, and certainly the first 3 furlongs were run quite steadily, and Aasy is poorly positioned in a steadily run affair. There he is, right out the back, and seemingly plenty to do. But this is how you have to ride him. The pace wasn't necessarily suiting him. He wanted a strong pace and wants them to come back to him. But he overcomes that under a brilliant ride from Crowley throughout the final 3 furlongs. And it was brilliant because he didn't panic and he didn't seek to commit his horse too soon. I'll highlight the 2nd and 3rd just to tell you what sort of task Crowley had. He's on the winner right back here, and you've got the 2nd there and the 3rd there. They're lengths ahead of Aasy at this part of the contest. The pace steadies as they go round this sweeping bend at Haydock, and it is Midnight Mile who sits in 4th place, who's a fast filly. She's got a sharp turn of foot. She showed it when she featured on the Verdict when winning at York last time. She will surge to the front and quick and clear under Oceanor in a bid for glory. And watch Jim Crowley, he's in last now. Does he panic? Oh no, he just sits and waits. Here comes Oceanor, and he's about to fire a quick furlong. Her 8th furlong, Midnight Mile, was 11.69. They've gone from furlongs that were in 13 seconds plus to suddenly in 11.69, and he goes. She's still on the bridle, and now he fires that furlong. Very much getting first run on Aasy. Look where he is. He's completely stuck there in behind, but this is where Crowley doesn't panic. He's not even switched out yet. He's just sitting still. Wait, and he's still waiting as Midnight Mile goes. El Drama off in pursuit in the yellow colours. Horse who's running for a new yard for the first time, gone from Roger Varian to Carl Burke. And now Crowley, only at the furlong pole, asks this horse to pick up and go and get El Drama and Midnight Mile, who both were not stopping. They quickened in front of him. He sat still, he didn't panic, and then he delivered Aasy to perfection to lead right on the line. Now, to run down a horse who's just run 11.69, and that horse had a positional advantage of 3 or 4 lengths, that's some effort from Aasy. You've got to be impressed with what he did here. As I said at the beginning, he can throw in the odd stinker, but now he's won 2 on the bounce, and I think, importantly, they're both over 1.25 miles. He has won over 1.5 miles in the past, but I think they're working out that this is his trip, Aasy. He just wants to be ridden in this manner. He likes to be cuddled up into it, get a lead for as long as possible, and then Crowley can launch him, put his head in front, right on the line. Look at El Drama, just struggling for a bit of room in the yellow. Eventually gets out. They're all in pursuit of Midnight Mile. She'd be effective back at 1 mile, I think. The amount of speed that she shows. She was committed quite early here, but possibly sensibly off what was quite a steady gallop. She made her bid for glory. El Drama came to win the race, but no. Crowley had them in his sights, and he pounced on Aasy. The drop to 10 furlongs a catalyst. The brilliant ride from Crowley. That was superb stuff. And in the end, it produced quite a decent final time. So although it was quite steady early on, they really surged up the home straight. You won't see a better waiting ride than that. on Aasy, and I think he's going to go from strength to strength this horse. It's bound to give him a bit of confidence. He's won his last couple of contests. So I hope you enjoyed those 6 races here on The Verdict today. We had some interesting performances. I think in terms of your trackers, I think there's a horse that we looked at earlier on in the Alshin Farah race, Grand Carrot. If you're going to put one horse in your trackers this week, that's the one, I think. Stout pedigree, staying on very strongly in a race that turned into a bit of a dash, won by a fast horse in Alshin Farah, but Grand Carrot, the fastest 3 furlongs, in final 3 furlongs in that race, is the one for your Racing TV trackers. And Nibras Angel, Benoit de la Sayette, brilliant. That's a bit of a theme on The Verdict this week. The good ride from Benoit de la Sayette, the good ride from Jim Crowley on Aasy. So quite a few horses for your trackers, and I would add Wonder to that as well, the horse that was 3rd behind Ghost Writer, who's a pretty useful 2-year-old, firing those 2 sub-11 second furlongs. So a lot to go at this week, a lot to disseminate, good few horses for your tracker. Don't forget The Verdict Extra, my column. It'll be on the website tomorrow afternoon, late on. There'll be a few more horses to keep an eye on there. And I hope you'll join me again next week. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.
Watch live racing now on racingtv.com.